My wife was in a competition, a, a gym competition, and me and Brooks went to see that. Um,
Really?
yeah, so that was good to see. She was really on the fence about doing it. Didn't think she could do it. Um, of course, I pushed her to sign up. She's, she was happy she did. So
Wow. When did she sign up for it?
she only signed up for it like Wednesday of last week. So
Oh, that's awesome. Is she the type? No, I don't know her as much as I know you. Is she the type that does she push herself pretty consistently?
no, no, she
Okay.
doesn't like. So she's very capable. She just doesn't think she is until I tell her she is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, got her out of her comfort zone. Beautiful, man. How'd she do? The fact that she showed up is the win. How did she do though?
She so they she came in ninth out of 16, uh, which is good. But then she's also probably uh, probably one of the older women that
Yeah.
were in her class. So becoming 9 out of 16 is even more important because of that. So
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God.
it's at her age. So
That is so cool. What a huge
yeah,
win, man.
yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. All right. If you're all checking in, happy Manifest Monday. Andrea, it's good to see your face. Hello there, Brian, Dickens, Chris, Michelle, Joe, Patrick. We got a bunch of people on this morning. I love it. I love it. I love it. If you're just checking in, remember we're going to start our week in the best vibration possible. Gratitude is the portal to greatness. So if you're here with us, I want you guys to type in the chat one or two of the best beautiful things that happened to you this weekend. For you, with you, your family. What's like an amazing thing that happened over this weekend or this past week? What's like the biggest win you have? That's awesome. Andrea, good to see you. Andrea was holding down the whole fort last week while I was literally with no service up in the White Mountains for the most part of the week. How are you feeling? Your son had a
Good.
big win.
Yeah, he did a lot. Well, yeah, it was good to have vacation on the weekends. It was tiring, but it was fun. Yeah, and speaking of last week, well, it wasn't really that scary that you're not here. I think the emails that came in, I was able to handle, so we're good.
That's the work stuff. Let's care about the wonderful stuff.
Um,
She sent me a video of her son jumping up holes that must have been, I don't know, like 150 feet tall. It was like craziness.
well,
Wow.
my son was actually crying. He was so scared to jump. So someone assisted him, but actually my daughter was the one who was more brave. I didn't expect that she would, go up that high. I was asking her if she was scared and she said she's not. So she is brave.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I love that. I love that. Isn't it interesting, right? Like we keep going back to, it's just so our brain is there to keep us safe, always, right? It will always push us to do what it knows is safe. And yet, by just living like a very contained and safe life, is not living life unlimited. So it's beautiful when we just push ourselves just a little bit, where we know we're safe, right? He's on the harness. He knows that nothing's going to happen to him. And I saw him jump down too. I saw him literally like have to put his whole weight on that rope, that's faith right there, right? Like, okay, it's got to hold me. Let's go. That was cool. Oh, I love that. Brian Lucier from the islands. How are you, my friend? Good morning.
I am unmuted. I am here. I am healthy. I'm alive and ready to come back to the US on Wednesday.
You are, how long are you here for?
1 week,
1 week. Okay. Well,
just enough
welcome.
to lose my tan.
And then you go back to get it back again. Well done.
Yes, yes,
But
yes, that's how I like my tan, actually. Well done.
11 miles, my friend. I'm just reading some of the gratitude from the weekend. 11 miles walking on the beach. That's
Yep,
amazing. Now, is that part of your daily routine, your habit?
that is Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, we take a right, which is 4.5 miles. Sunday, we take a left, which is 6.5 miles.
Yeah. And you have that as your fitness, but also your family, like your connection piece, like you do it together.
That is recreation.
Recreation. Elaborate on that. What's that?
Well, it's the word recreation with the
Mm-hmm.
accent on the other syllables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's time that I have quiet, peaceful time to myself. I get to reorganize my gray matter, walk down the beach, beautiful sounds, all the sensory that comes in. It grounds me every week to get back here on a Monday and start chopping down the forest.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So that's solitary time for you. That's you with yourself. Beautiful.
Yes, yes.
Beautiful. That's faith, fitness. That's beautiful. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I would love to know, type in the chat if you are here listening and maybe you're not on video. What's something that you do for you? Remember, that's one of our 3 questions. What's one way we can show up better for us today? What's one thing that you do for you consistently, whether it's a weekly habit or a daily habit? Just type that into the chat. So Brian does his 11 miles walking on the beach, which is beautiful. Joe, you spend time with friends, swam with your daughter. I love that. I love that. Reading books and coffee beans. Chris, are you a coffee guy, Brian? Are you making some coffee down there? No?
Books and beans, baby.
Love that. Chris, wonderful woods hike with my daughter and son on Saturday. Beautiful, Chris. You were in Winnipesaukee too, weren't you on the lake? Michelle celebrated my youngest nephew's birthday in Rentham. Supercharged entertainment. That's that big inflatable thing, I think, right? That's what I haven't taken my kids there yet. All right. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. 1.5 hours in the gym every weekday. Daily 20 to 30-minute workouts, rotating spin and weight stays. Yes, Michelle. Yes. A lot of us have that one domino action, right? Like, what's the one thing? If I do this thing every single day, this is part of our bigger talk today. If I do that one thing every single day, it sets me up for the big win, right? For some people, it's getting up and having, guzzling 20 ounces of water. If I do that, that prompts me to then maybe do a workout. It prompts me to then eat a little bit better. It prompts me to go to sleep a little bit better. What's that one thing? Or some people, it's meditation, right? I need to calm the mind. So whether it's 5 minutes, 10 or 15, it doesn't matter. Whether it's guided or not, it doesn't matter. Whether it's Brian walking on a beach for 11 miles, just hearing and those sounds and being with himself, right? What's that one action for you, right? That when you knock that one domino down, everything else seems to kind of go in place. And what I'd love to do is we are creating these weekly Manifest Monday calls to help start our week in a much better frame of mind. So I'd love to know if you guys have those, if you already have those dominoes in your head, feel free to type them into the chat. And before we get into anything else for the day, does anyone else want to do a share? Anybody want to share a win or something that happened to them this weekend that they would love to jump in with? I saw Dickens on earlier. Dickens, you in a place where you're able to share? You always have a good one. No, okay. I think he's driving as well. Oh, there he is. Come on, you're muted, my friend.
Oh, okay. And I was stuck. Can you hear me now?
Yep, can hear you.
Yeah, it was all about work. I went to see a property that my VA picked up for me this weekend. It was a good one. So I'm running the number. I'm about to make an offer today. So yeah, it wasn't basically what it's good that we have the VA that exists. So even though it's for sale by owner, they are having open hours yesterday, but I was able to go before the crowd and be a report with the owner. And so this morning we're gonna make an offer.
Okay. All right. Just remind me, is this quarter a finance F for you? Is that your primary F this quarter? I'm just asking.
always an F.
No, it's not, because you
Yeah.
had family, and that quarter you crushed, right?
Yeah, but unfortunately, we go back to the F, you know, and even though to do more with family, we need that F. So I realize that until I change the wiring of my head, it will be always an F.
And change the wiring of my head. Wait, what? No, I have to pick on you a little bit. All right, so what does that mean? Where are we going here?
Uh, you know, growing up, I think since my teenage, you know, I pride myself as someone who worked hard as a workaholic, you know, and you know that's helped me go through, you know, during my college stage. Every time, you know, I'm not, working or the F side of my things make me, you know, look safe. You know, if something don't go well, you straight up on your goal. You go work as hard as you can, and you know, and at least you know whether you succeed or not. You just put your 100% into it. You know, unfortunately, sometimes you neglect other part of the of your balance, and you have balance. That's what I call rewiring your brain to allow yourself to live more in balance. But sometimes you just follow to what you know is working.
We fall to the level of our trainings and systems, right?
Yeah.
We fall to the level of training. So for you, when you don't know, you default to work. Is that what I heard?
Yeah. But when you're not, when you're uncomfortable, you default to work.
Okay.
You know, before it was, studying. No, I'm not in school, and I'm not looking forward to school anymore. But now it's work. Always about work, and I think that's the thing that I learned from my family. We've always been working. We've always been working hard, and we take pride to say that we're hard workers. You know, and yeah. And
does your wife are you guys in a good space right now?
Yeah, we both working.
Yeah. Yeah. How's the connection? How's the connection at home?
It can be better.
Mm-hmm.
It can be better. Yes, we do 1 or 2 hours, TV when I'm not too tired, but yes, definitely can be better. And that's my goal, to be more independent and, have more time, more free time. But right now, during that summer, I have less free time, and we rely on what we know. We rely on work.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm feeling, only because I know you deeper, right? So you had at least one quarter, if not two, where your faith and family were on fire.
Yes.
Right? And you had chosen them. You made a conscious effort to choose and put energy into those two things and show up for your daughter, right, at school for all of her tournaments. And I've witnessed the beautiful connection you have with your wife. And it's funny because as we see this going forward now, where you start to kind of slide back into, well, I'm going to call it a scarcity mindset, right? I don't know if you're necessarily there yet, but I feel like maybe that's where there's a slide and we start to claw, right? Like the brain's like, oh, no, 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 here we are again. Oh, no, no, no. So you start to claw at things. And for you, your default, okay, well, I'm going to work more. And
to be honest, we can call it scarcity mind. I'm going to be honest with you. Yes,
yes.
it is. It is scarcity mind. And I'm 100% deep into it right now.
Yes. So I'm going to just take a second and have you really, and right now I'm actually seeing red energy with you, which means I know you're not necessarily as open right now. I feel like maybe there's a lot of scarcity, maybe some stress, anxiety that's impacting you right now. But what I'd still like you to do, if you can, and you're driving, but take a deep breath. I want you to remember the evidence. Remember the piece of you about just a short 4 or 5 months ago. That version of Dickens that was showing up so strong for his family. I want you also to remember when you felt like, I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to be able to supply, right? The finances. I don't know, but I do know that this connection that I have, right, with my daughter, this connection that I have with my wife, this is so real. This is so unbelievably real. And I know that this is right now, this is all that matters. If there's a moment, Dickens, today where you can slow down in your meditation, because you know you're part of the program, you're supposed to be your meditation. I know that you're slipping on that. That's okay. In that moment today, when you go back to that version of you, and this is not just for you, this is for anybody who's thinking about this, right? When we start to go through this scarcity or anxiety loop, like, oh my God, I now need to produce. I'm going to fall to the level of my training. I'm going to fall to having to grind, having to make the calls, having to push and push and push. All of that, right? Remember that all of that is just energy. And if we're trying to claw after the money, the energy of money, if we're trying to chase it down, right? What does something happen when we start to chase it? Right? It runs away from us. It gets harder to obtain. It gets harder to entrap. And it's not about entrapment. It's about attracting what we need to attract with the vibrations that we're putting out there. So like even in this moment with what I'm learning, like I am seeing a lot of like red energy with you, Dickens, which is beautiful because I know that you're such a powerful, powerful man. And when you go inside, if you go into that space within you and you start to remember who you are, remembering that love is the only thing that matters, remembering that being in gratitude, remember that counting everything that we do have, right? That is the beginning. Gratitude is the portal to greatness. That's the beginning of shifting that energy so that you're no longer chasing and you're starting to attract it again. And we're going to get into more, not in these calls, but for those of you, some of you know, we have Life Unlimited pod calls. And one thing that I've started to add to these pod calls are tactical, operative systems that we can start to work on a day-to-day basis. And it's no different than just habit track, right? And actually, this is a beautiful segue into our topic for today. The topic for today that I was going to bring up is identity and who do you choose to be in this next moment? I want you guys to really think about that. This is not just a platitude. Every single day we wake up and we choose to become a version of us in that day, and we vote with our actions instead of our words. So here's a great, James Clear talks about this. If an alien came down from space right now, right, and looked at you guys and looked at you in your life, and you could say nothing, but all they would do is look at your actions for the entire day to determine who you are, who your identity is, what would that alien come back with? Right? Not what we say, not what we want, not what we desire, right? Not what we say we're working on our fitness. We say we're working on ourselves. We say we're big producers, but like looking at what we do day to day, what would the alien take away from that conversation? And the more beautiful part of that is then understanding that we do get to choose. Every time we take an action or we say no to something, we're voting for the version, identity of ourselves that we agree with, that we want. We're raising our vibration. We're going to say, I choose to be this today. What does this mean? I choose to be fit, or I choose to be a runner, or I choose to be someone who meditates, someone who can introspectively reflect. I choose to be a husband that shows up in a different way for my spouse. I choose to be someone, though, in order to do that, I have to show up for me. So I choose to be someone who shows up for me every single day, these next 5 or 10 or 15 minutes every single morning. And how do I do that? Well, that means, okay, I have to get up earlier. So what does that mean? I'm going to trade my late nights for early mornings. Okay, what does that mean? It means I put away the phone at 6:30 p.m. Because if I'm on my phone, I'm going to be staying up late, right? So all of these little micro habits, these are what our identity actually is. And the most beautiful part of living a life unlimited, the most beautiful part of why I do these calls and why you guys show up and why you show up for yourselves every single day is because you know deep down, we're all born creators. Like the only reason we're even on this planet, right, is to create this beautiful life because we chose to come to this planet. We chose to live this life. And we get to choose every single moment what we're doing, who we are, what our identity is, knowing also the beautiful part of contrast, right? The warmer and the cooler, like, oh, I tried that, it didn't work, or it didn't feel good. Okay, cool. That means I get to go over here and try something else. We're not going to hit our head against a wall for 3 or 5 years saying, oh, I can't believe that didn't work, I'm a victim, blah, 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 because that attracts more of that victim piece, right? So having grace with ourselves and also looking at life and looking at this life as a truly a beautiful game to be played. Everyone on this call with me right now, everyone on this call, I know there have been times in your life, just like there have been times in mine, when you didn't know how it was going to work out. You did not know where you're going to pick up the groceries next week. You didn't know how you're going to pay a mortgage. You didn't know if this was going to mess up your kid forever and ever and ever. You know, you didn't know. And if we look, there's evidence to show every single time that the people like who are show up on these calls, we're attracting certain things from the universe where it always works itself out because we're inherently good, beautiful, creative people. So that said, take the pressure off, man. Take the pressure off.
That's right.
This beautiful
That's
galaxy.
to this call.
What is it?
I said that's when I come to those calls every week.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about, I think it was one of the calls, right? But remember to be a child again and take the pressure off. And there's this, I always go back to that visual of like the big, big, big Milky Way galaxy, right? Everything's spinning and hurtling around like a star that's traveling 100 million miles an hour through the galaxy, right? Through the universe. And then it's like a little arrow and it shows like Earth, like, and here's you crying in the shower over something that happened. Like, it's like, you know, it's just a really cool, like, perspective. But remembering that we literally came from balls of gas and dust that swirled around, right? And when you believe it was God or not God, it doesn't matter. Like, that's where we came from, right? Something started it, and here we are. So we're already miracles. We're walking, breathing, organic material that has a consciousness to say, okay, well, then why are we here? Well, we're here to create the life that we desire. We're here to expand in our consciousness. We're here to learn some beautiful lessons and reminding ourselves that the only thing we ever take with us, right? Love, wisdom, experience. Nothing else matters. We don't take our money with us. We don't take our valuables. We don't take our tangible stuff. And we get to repeat that process. And when we choose again, if we get to choose again to come back down to earth, we get to choose again who our parents are. And we get to choose again the 3 main challenges that we will face in this lifetime to either overcome or to sedate and not tackle. We get to choose all over again. So, reminding all of you, this is a beautiful temporary playground where we get to learn, play, and enjoy. And anything else, any anger, frustration, stress, anxiety, all of that are learned emotions in the brain that we've talked about so many times before. Those are not real. Those are not who you are. You are a divine, beautiful consciousness, and you get to choose moment by moment by moment by telling the brain, no, not today. Today, I remember who I am. Today, I'm going to have fun. Today, I'm going to balance on granite curbs or rock walls. Today, I'm going to send a beautiful text to my wife that I haven't sent in a really long time, or I'm going to plan a date night that doesn't have to cost any of the money energy, right? I'm going to plan a beautiful surprise date night and take her out on this picnic and do this and that, or I'm going to show up for my daughter or son and do a hike in the woods and show them the beauty of nature, show them the beauty of, someone they didn't even know who I was. If I have been showing up for work and work and work and grind and grind and grind, all of a sudden I can change that identity by saying, hey, Joe, we're going to go on Saturday and do this. Have a beautiful surprise day. You're not even going to know what we're going to do, but my phone's going to be off. And me and you, or me and you and maybe one friend, like, we're just going to have a beautiful moment of connection. Well, what does that mean? You'll see. Like, you get to plan all this. You guys are creators. So this isn't just for you, Dickens. This was for everybody, right? And the whole reason, again, to remind you guys, I only do these calls because I needed them. I need them. Right? Like, this is the shit that I would always tell myself every single day and every single week. And as we go through the week, and because we're human, because emotions come up, because the mind does what it does and tries to push us back into our old habits. Remember, 72,000 of our 80,000 thoughts are the same thoughts as yesterday. Right? It's our duty, the heart's duty, to lead. And the mind is the builder. The mind is the servant to the heart. But in this society, in this civilization, we have just prized the mind. Like, oh, look, they're so good. They're smart people. They figure shit out. They've built massive companies. And, and the dollar, right, is what we've judged so much success on. The almighty dollar, right? Production. That's what this society does. But if you go to China, it's very, very, very different, right? Connection to family and connection to oneself is the most important success measure, not the almighty dollar. And funny enough, what do we see in China and Japan? Or at least Japan, right? It's one of the richest nations in the world. And they're not even necessarily focused on money. And that's kind of the point. In fact, that's definitely the point. Faith, family, fitness. Faith, family, fitness come first. Finances follow. Finances will come when those three are taken care of. And what I used to say is that, what are finances for except to just have fun? So we set our fun targets every quarter. But now I take fun and we put it into every single quarter because it's supposed to be one of our top four. So now it's faith, family, fitness, and fun before finances come. Finances are attracted. It's another energy source, just like love, just like electricity, just like water. It's an energy source only that comes when you stop chasing it. And I'll do one more thing on the tactical side. Some of you have come to our workshops and you're in our real estate courses. We talk about that, the ladder, the active to passive ladder, right? The REI ladder, starting at the bottom where we're working for our income, right? We have a job, or it's a W-2 income, or you're a wholesaler, agent, rehabber, whatever you are, whatever you're getting active income from. And you spend your time. And as we go up, right, then there's, value add real estate or working with contractors, and there's accumulation of cash flowing assets, right? We're starting to move up the passive ladder now, just like Kiyosaki talks about. And finally, at the very, very top, right, is private lending, capital partnerships being a key principle. And it's funny because when we were designing that ladder, what I didn't know until 2 years ago, the relationship with money, that energy of money is changing from the bottom to the top. It's not necessarily like this is the linear, must be how this goes. But at the bottom, right, money as survival, moving up to the second rung where money is a tool. Third rung, whereas money can be used as a weapon, where we fire, right, like big cannonballs of cash out, and we get little bullets that come back to us, and we can fire another cannonball out. We get little bullets as cash. But then finally at the top, when you have it, you changed your identity around it, you've attracted it, and now it's just there. And now you don't even need to use it to get more of it. People just come to you because they want to partner with you. They come to you because you can, you lend, and it doesn't matter to you if it goes or it comes or it goes. In fact, the whole point is to not hold on to it, because as you go up that ladder, you can't hold on to it or else it will stop coming in. So you become this beautiful, massive conduit where the energy of money just comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes. And if you're ever stuck there, where you're finding all of a sudden you start to feel the brain start to shift into, well, I got to go and produce more because the money's just not there. I'm not uncomfortable with this feeling, right? A lot of you saw, we did a podcast with Kyle Curtin. And what was the one thing that happened to me when I started to move into that scarcity mindset? I now trained myself as another habit to immediately give money to a charity. The one thing for me that didn't make any sense whatsoever, because again, I'm throwing my brain off in this life, right? So if I started to feel a place where, I'm below my cushion, I don't know I haven't been below this cushion in 7 or 8 years. Oh no, what's going to happen, right? Oh, all right, well, what's the thing that doesn't make any sense right now? I'm going to give money away. Because if I give money away, I've just changed the energy that I have around money, and therefore it comes and it attracts more. And now I have evidence. Not that I was giving money to get more money, because that's a different frame of belief. But I now have evidence where, right, I would donate that $300 to that charity. And all of a sudden, the very next week, one of my real estate agents, who I hadn't talked to in probably 6 years, sent me an off-market, can you help me wholesale this deal in Andover, where we made $150,000 wholesale spread. Holy shit.